Hey everybody, it's Ian Douglas. I'm testing out the ATEZR P5 laser engraver. Based on the last video that I made where I was basically doing the calibration board like this, doing the lines at different speeds and different laser strengths, what I decided to do, instead of going all the way up to 2000 millimeters per minute, since we were really only seeing some lines, some drawings in here up to 1000 millimeters per minute, I decided I was going to redo this one so that you actually see etching up here right now. So it's only going to go from 100 millimeters per minute up to 1000 millimeters per minute. But I'm also doing two passes. This one was just a single pass. You can't really see it on the video because of the lights, but this just did a single pass. This is actually doing a double pass. At a slow enough speed, at a high enough power, this is actually going to cut all the way through the 2mm basswood board, but this will also give you a pretty good indication when you're doing these kinds of things, how much sort of bleed over you're going to see. I'm going to try turning the lights off here for just a minute and see whether this will actually show up. You can actually see some of these etches over here. There's actually a lot more bleed. For example, at this 80%, you can see that it actually burned up into the inside of the square, where some of the lines up here along the top are a lot cleaner. There's actually there's no burn like into the square that it's actually etching out. And so again, depending on what you want to do within your project, you may want that burn. You may want that sort of old-timey kind of look, or you may want something that's a little cleaner and a little bit crisper. So I really recommend doing these kinds of calibration tests to be sure that that when you're working on your project, you know exactly how you want to set it for a particular type of material. So any kind of material you're going to use, whether it's paper, acrylic, wood, different kinds of wood, and so on, you're going to want to run these kinds of tests. You are going to use up some of this material. It's just like this with 3D printing and resin 3D printing. You have to calibrate your equipment. You have to know what your equipment is capable of, and to do that, you're going to use up some of the material. And so I would say, stock up on some cheap boards. You can buy these online relatively inexpensively, or go to the hardware store and see what they have available. Try to keep your costs low because you will go through a lot of this material as you're trying to figure out the calibration routines. I've gone through probably 10 or so of these boards, just doing little tests like this, trying to figure out, have I got everything tight? Do I have my belts tightened up properly? And then trying to figure out what speed and strength of laser that I want to use on different kinds of things. So whether I'm doing something like a photograph like this was just a quick photo that I took of the laser engraver, or whether you're actually trying to cut out something like a sign, you'll have a better idea of how you want to actually set up your engraver, whether it's the P5, the P10, the P20. They've got a lot of different models out, but you're going to want to run these calibration tests no matter what, just to be sure that you've got everything dialed in for how you want it.